Why is it such a cultural phenomenon? Well, to be honest, the answer is quite simple. It's so bad that it's good. The first film made $408.4 million. $400 million in box office profits. The second film made $711 million. The third film, $698.4 million. The fourth film, part one of Breaking Dawn, made $712.2 million. And Breaking Dawn Part 2 with a whopping $848.6 million. 800 million, doubled by the end of all 5 movies. Let's start from the basis of the story. It is about a painfully mediocre white brunette girl with a painfully regular name, Bella, and she falls in love with a stud of a man named Edward Cullen, who turns out to be a sparkly vampire, but also the boy that she grew up with in this town is in love with her, and he is a werewolf. And let's be real, who doesn't love a love triangle? But it also has mythical fucking creatures, bro. Literal mythical creatures. Vampires. Who doesn't love vampires? Who doesn't love the idea of being swept away into a mystical world by not one, but 2 mystical creature men? Even though it contains, the classic cliches that we love, it really, honestly, if we're being so honest, is just cringy as hell. And I'm not gonna try and defend it from being cringy, because it really is cringy. But we can't blame the actors, because they literally were following what is written in the books. As someone who has read the entirety of the book series, the movies are decently accurate. Not only does it have, the basic story, but it's got a banging soundtrack. And if it didn't have that going for it, it's got color grading. Yes, it is iconic for the first movie being literally just blue. They kind of lost the color, the iconic color grading, after it wasn't really an indie movie anymore. But besides the Mormon undertones of waiting till marriage, there's also the whole Renesmee. So if you guys didn't know, in the 4th book and the 4th movie, Breaking Dawn Part 1, they have a child. Don't even get me started on the plot holes within that statement, because wouldn't it be literal dust by now, Edward? But they have a child who they name Renesmee. Even though we love Renan, do we though? Because she did cause a war that actually didn't happen. Yeah, so in the last book, there is no war. That iconic fight that we see in Breaking Dawn Part 2, yeah, that's not in the books. Thank God they added it to the movie, because at least we had something to watch, even though it was the biggest bait and switch of all time, where nobody actually died. And don't even get me started on Jacob. Team Edward, Team Jacob. The only answer is Team Edward, okay? And that is simply because Edward did not assault her. Stalk her? Yes. Assault her? No. Yes, Jacob did kiss her without her consent. Also threatened to kill himself if she didn't kiss him whenever he found out that she was engaged. Major red flags. But Edward has red flags too, so I can't just say that it's Jacob, because Edward literally stalks her and sneaks into her room when she's sleeping and watches her sleep. Stephenie Meyer actually tried to get MCR to write a song for Twilight, and they refused. And that's because MCR is actually the inspiration for Twilight. Whoever knows the lore, yes, I'm about to drop it. And you're gonna have to sit here and listen to everyone's reactions to what I'm about to say. So Twilight is connected to 9/11. During that whole time of mourning and grief, Gerard Way created MCR. And then Stephenie Meyer was inspired by MCR, and she created Twilight. And then Someone wrote a BDSM fanfiction about Edward and Bella. And that is 50 Shades of Grey. I wish I was joking. I wish I was. So yeah, everyone loves Twilight. Why? Because it's awful and therefore it is entertaining. Who doesn't want to watch a sappy, dramatic, overly drawn out story about a mediocre girl fall in love with two dopey, down bad, half monster men? Like, let's be real. I mean, who finds this shit entertaining?